My name is Linda Claas. I am a cosmetologist, esthetician, and Reiki master. I live in Boonville, Missouri, and I own a Touch of Class salon, spa, bed and breakfast that is haunted. My story probably begins when I was 3, when I had an imaginary friend by the name of Annie Myers, that my mother threatened me dearly if I talked about it again. Through the years, I was very sick in my 3rd and 4th grade. They were not too sure I was even going to live. I had chickenpox and strep throat at the same time, and I started seeing orbs floating around me, mainly around my heart. I would reach out and touch them. It felt like a soft egg without a shell, and I could put my hand through them. Once again, I couldn't talk about it with my mother because she thought I was losing my mind, and to the point she even talked to the doctor several times about it. My children learned to come home and tell me everything that they knew that had happened for fear that I'd find it out from someone else, and they never knew where I found it out, but I would have visions of what happened to them, like my son having a car accident. When I was moved to Boonville 23 years ago, and I was doing some energy work at that time, but not really knowing the extensive detail that I was going to be doing. One of my friends offered to give me a Reiki attunement. And through the course of a year, she gave me all 3 levels of Reiki. Once I moved into the house that I'm in, my Reiki business increased. I started seeing things in the house. Things would move. I had a rainbow calcite that disappeared off of my station during a healing crystal class, and I just swore someone had taken it home. Had no idea that I actually had spirits in the house that were moving them. 3 years later, it appeared in the front of the cabinet that I got into every day. Opened the cabinet door, and the big calcite crystal was sitting there. Brushes on my station would move in front of customers. It got to the point that I had 3 ministers bless the house because strange things were happening. I started taking pictures and finding orbs. I had a restaurant downstairs, and the people didn't want to work. They didn't feel comfortable down there. So I went through numerous employees, not really knowing why, but I ended up closing it. But before I did, the 3 ministers, 3 shaman, plus my own smudging numerous times, and still things were happening in this 3-story brick house built in 1921. So I had heard about a group from Fort Leonard Wood that could come. They were military, and they were ghost hunters. They could remove, so to speak, the ghost in the house. They came, set up their equipment, found lots of orbs, found a nasty man downstairs in one of the rooms, they thought, and proceeded to talk to him. One of the girls said, if you don't, we really want to talk to you, but if you don't, we're going to buy the house and turn it into a swimming pool. She goes back upstairs. 10 minutes later, 2 more people go down. and come running up the steps. Miss Linda, the basement's flooded. Oh, it is not. It's flooded. So I go down. It was flooded. There were 2 inches of water all over the floor. Somehow the sump pump got turned off. So I cleaned up the mess. They packed up their stuff and left, never to hear from them again. And so I cleaned up the mess. We vacuumed it up, went back down the next morning, and it was flooded again. So turned the sump pump back on. We ended up having Culligan come reroute their water softener into a different drain instead of the sump pump. The next morning, the sump pump went off again. The switch had been shut off. No one had been there. So we had a nice little talk, and everything went well until things started moving. I actually saw my bed go down, like someone would sit on my bed. There'd be a depressed area in the bed. We had, it felt like kids were jumping up and down on the bed. My grandson, that was living with me at the time, could see a woman with long blonde hair, dressed in white, that would come into his bedroom and check on him at night before he would go to sleep. Finally, my son introduced me to Hector, and he's been there several times. There are lots of orbs. There's even an entity that has a black mist. I came home from vacation and was unpacking and felt something behind me. So I turned my camera around, clicked it, and there was a black mist over my left shoulder. It was rather startling. But Hector came, reassured me that things were okay. We closed the portal that was downstairs after we sent the nasty man out. And I haven't really had any problems, but I might add, once I had put the house on the market because I was tired of the little flooding that I had. And, well, it was before the flood. After I put the house on the market, the house flooded. So this past June, I was just tired of all of the spirits closing doors. I have a IVAC that I sweep hair up into. It'll come on in the middle of the night, so I unplug it now, and it will still go off in the middle of the night. Or if someone walks in front of it, it goes off. Doors shut. I hear people talking. I've seen a lady in the kitchen, and there's no one else in the house but me. Nothing's ever harmful, but there are lots of orbs. Some people come stay in the bed and breakfast just for the experience. A couple of weeks ago, a gentleman came, and he wanted to see orbs, and we were downstairs, and I suggested to the spirits in the house that he wanted to see them. And within seconds, there was like a party of orbs all over that room. The next morning, he went into the closet upstairs to get his clothes, and they shut him in the closet. So they're never harmful, they're playful. I've been told that the house was built in 1921 after 2 houses burnt down that was on the property. There was a gentleman that had gangrene, on one of his feet. And there are times I smell the stinkiest feet ever. And it's usually when there's a new person in the house. It's like they're protective. My mother just passed in August. I smell coffee early in the morning, usually between 4 and 5, which was what time she usually got up. Or I'll smell her cigarettes or bacon. Bacon was usually her breakfast. It's just been a growing experience. Thinking I was going to get away from it, it didn't happen. But the Reiki, I do a lot of Reiki clients, I teach Reiki, and seeing sometimes people from the other side come through, and I don't know if they like it so well, they decide to stay, but we've had increased activity. They're usually there. You can take a picture and there's an orb, 2 or 3, or a mist. Okay. Hector is the founder of the 10th Dimension in Kansas City. He's and the group have been very helpful. I'm now in charge of the branch in Boonville. So it's been a joyful experience. Sometimes I've never been afraid, just annoyed when things disappear or appear and you're not expecting it.